it or not. There is a moment meant for us, and now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.
What up, everybody? How are you doing? This is Jason, and that's Sherman, and this is USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. Jay?
Sherman, I'm loving being here on the islands. Just
I don't like it.
Here. You know, about to have a little swim in the ocean.
I don't like it.
It's glorious. I'm just enjoying it. You know, I just took my private plane to my private island and enjoying myself here, watching a lot of the Summer of Poomsae on my private TV on my private beach. How are you?
You have a private TV.
I have a private TV.
So what kind of brother from another mother are you? If you left me out, what is that all about?
Well, the plane was full because it's only a plane for one. I'm sorry.
So the girls are not there either?
That's just me right now. I'm enjoying myself here at the in my private island. No, I'm telling you what, Sherm, I've had so much fun. What I've really enjoyed so far to this part of the Summer of Poomsae is how well the athletes have adapted and turn around. The scoring's coming up so clear. I'm really getting a better understanding personally of what the judges are looking for, and I'm learning more every time, and I've enjoyed kind of watching some of the backstories of some of the athletes and interviews that we've done, but more than anything else, just seeing these athletes go out there and put together such high-level Poomsae, you know, semis and prelims, and of course, we're going to see it again in the finals.
Yeah, it is. I think my Poomsae IQ is going up a little bit.
Agreed.
From just exposure, and it is seeing Poomsae at the highest level. In an informal setting. It's informal for me, but they are taking it as seriously as they would if we were at an event. And so I'm appreciating the growth that I'm getting. I wish it had come earlier, but better late than never. So I'm starting to become a little more savvy as it relates to, just like you said, what the judges are looking for. I'm getting closer at predicting scores. I don't think I'm a savant yet, but I am getting closer at picking scores.
No, it's been great to this point. I've had a great time. So now we're into a brand new group of athletes. Let's get right to them. The under 60 black belt category. I'm going to give you the males right here, right now. That is, the competitors for the semifinals are Song Kim, Brian Joe, Ron Southwick, Garth Cooley, Un-Ik Lee, and Dan Williams. Those are your semifinalists in the men's under 60 male black belt. And of course, we know a lot of those guys, so it's gonna be fun to watch those guys compete.
Absolutely. Well, I've got the under 60 female black belts. I have Maura Hall, Angela Pullen, Artavia Edwards, Elva Adams, Cindy Belina Coe, Amber Smith, Jan Trigg, and Diana Adamowicz. Again, names that we've recognized, that we've seen before. Looking forward to watching these ladies compete in their semifinal round. Oh, but wait. Nope, I also have the under 60 female red belt, Eleanor Thompson. Shout out to Eleanor Thompson in her semifinal category. Let's go get it, Eleanor.
Yeah, it's great. Again, all semifinals here, so they're looking for their spot into the finals. I have the men's under 65 black belts, so some seasoned black belt competitors here with William Gamble, James Park, and Joseph Coughlin. Beg your pardon. And look, I got to see a couple of these guys at the Grand Slam. Elite level competitors here. Those three gentlemen looking for book their spot in the final and ultimately a Summer of Poomsae championship.
Listen, and not to be left out, I have the under 65 female black belts, and that includes Barbara Brand, Christine Hislop, Julie Tregeagle, and Colleen Cooley. These ladies will compete in their semifinal round of Poomsae for what? The Summer of Poomsae Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's important right now. Again, it's an 8.0 event, opportunity for them to move through the pathways here, to make their national team for the Poomsae national team. And of course, looking for that coveted #1 ranking in the new ranking system from USA Taekwondo. So I'm excited. Yeah, very excited. Look, we've got the over 65 black belt men to finish out these semifinals in the men's. And it's Jim Harp, Mitchell Dillard, Ken Thorpe, Jang Hee Pak, and Bruce Gallup. So those 5 gentlemen looking to book their spot into the semifinals and ultimately win that championship.
And last, but by no means least, our over 65 female black belts, Diana Hunt, Erica Lindhorst, Tweety Wynn, and Dorinda Bell. Those ladies round out this episode's competitors, semifinalists all, looking forward to getting to those finals, getting to that #1 spot.
Yeah, good luck to all these competitors. As again, they're going to be competing here coming up. So we're excited to see you guys compete. And Sherm, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to sit back and relax on my beach here with the crashing waves coming in, the palm trees in the background, because the Summer of Poomsae is so relaxing, but at the same time, so exciting. So I had to make sure and get myself to a relaxing yet exciting place. So without further ado, let's do this. Let's throw it over to our commentators, Miyako, Yerick, and Dan Chuang with the semifinals of this Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo.
Well, Jay, I hope you enjoy your time on your private island. It looks like I see a cyclone building in the background, so you have fun. And I remember Castaway. I think Tom Hanks did a masterful job. Hopefully, if something happens, you will be able to give that level of performance, and I will go on without you. I will.
Thank you, Wilson.
Well played, sir. All right, y'all, enjoy, and we will see you on the other side.
All right, everyone, welcome to episode 5. Here we have our wonderful referees for this episode, and we're going to start off with the under 60 male black belt division. There are 6 men in this division this year, and we're starting with Song Kim from Dr. Kim's Taekwondo. And I believe that is his own school.
And this is national team head coach Dan Chuang chiming in as well. I haven't seen Mr. Kim perform before personally, but he's looking pretty solid here. Some nice power, nice groundedness.
And so since we have 6 men in the division and it is the semifinal round, they will be performing semifinals, and then that will give them their ranking order for the finals. And it looks like their first form here is Tebek. And my name is Miyako Yerick. Welcome, everyone.
It's like an accuracy of 2.97, presentation of 4.03 for a total of 7.00. Miyako, I love seeing how people have arranged their dojongs to really optimize for these competitions. I see that people are putting mats in the back to give that uniform background so they can be seen more clearly.
Absolutely. I've seen a wall of wave masters. I've seen mats go up. Really just kind of showcases the studio as well. We at Nationals don't get to see that side of people's training spaces, and it's been really nice.
Forming Chuang here for the second Poomsae. I always love this sequence in Chuang. It's not often you get to do a 360-degree spin, jumping spin in forms. Have to wait for the senior 2 and above divisions.
So pairs and teams will do this form at senior 2, but otherwise, Coach, how old do you have to be before you do Chuang as an individual?
Right. Otherwise, then you're waiting until the Master 1, 41 and above.
Right. To do that that turning 360 kick. I feel like I could do it better at 18, but I'm always so impressed by the control that these athletes have when they do it.
Absolutely. So total score of 6.8. He should come out at around 6.9. Looks good. We'll see how he holds up with the following 5 competitors. Again, no one is going to have their final placement determined by this round. This is just for seeding for the finals.
And it's so great that we get to see more of them. At nationals, you would only just go straight to finals, but now we get to see 2 rounds of everyone. So I'm excited to see how they move from the semifinal to the final round, even though they're all pre-recorded videos.
We have Brian Joe from Daima Taekwondo is, of course, his daughter. Esther Joe is this year's Senior 1 national team member for female individual. He's represented Team USA as well for the 2019 President's Cup. It's great to see him out there on that one.
No, I don't think I realized that Esther was his daughter. It would have been fun to see them compete on the same team, father and daughter.
I know.
He has such great lines. That last punch, you could tell he has such good core and back engagement, as opposed to squaring up the shoulders. It was such a nice finishing line there.
Absolutely.
We've talked about in past episodes how important back flexibility is, and definitely coming out here on the presentation for a total of 7.33 on his first form, and now we'll see his interpretation of Chuang.
That puts him solidly ahead of the first competitor, but he still has to perform on the second iteration. I do feel like we're seeing a number of parent and child teams for coach athlete coming out of Poomsae through the upcoming divisions, especially the cadet and junior divisions. So that's been great to see, multi-generational competition. And there aren't many disciplines in which you can compete on the same team as your child, are there, Miyako?
Right. No, normally you could have somebody coaching and have your child be on the team, but to have the parent be an athlete as well, I think, especially if you get to travel to a tournament, would be so cool to have, you know, cheer for your dad or cheer for your mom on the team.
Totally.
So Master Joe here's taking a little bit more aggressive tempo in this form, really pushing the speed, but still really controlled coming out of that spinning kick.
Right. Usually you'll see the Master 2 and above divisions take this just a little more tempered pace, but this is certainly on the fast side for this division. I agree. But it's presenting well. I think he'll be rewarded.
Definitely. I think it's coming across. There's still good volume of motion. He's not cutting anything short, which is really important so that we don't lose the volume of motion even as you speed things up. So I think he will continue to place high on the second form. 7.36, so just a slightly bit higher here. So his total score will be a 7.35, putting him for right now in the first spot, but we have 6 people in the semifinal round. Again, nobody's getting cut. We are just figuring out how we will be seated for that final round.
We have Master Ronald Southwick, head of team for our National Poomsae team in 16, 18, and 20. He's been on the part of the Poomsae movement for many, many years, from the very, very beginning of our competitive era.
Plus, you heard him commentating a couple earlier episodes. So that's he's well known in the Poomsae community. Here it looks almost like a garage, maybe. He has his mats out there in a parking garage doing his Poomsae. Proof you can do it anywhere.
That's right. I think this is the first garage performance I've seen.
Me too.
Looking really strong. A lot of that core strength that you see in the older divisions. Maybe just a slightly forward-leaning posture there. So we'll see if the judges how they take that. But very solid. Definitely.
Absolutely. And I do like that we can see the power. Sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't, but 7.67 here. So really high score. The presentation there, 4.4, Judges really liked what they saw here.
Yeah, that's very similar accuracy to the last competitor, but a higher presentation. So it appears that they really did appreciate the more visible power that Master Southwick is showing. He's doing a good job of accelerating hard and stopping hard on each move. So.
I also feel like Master Southwick is one of the taller Poomsae athletes. So it could be good or bad, kind of depending on how much control you have of your body. But he's been doing this so long, he knows where all of his limbs are. And I feel like it's helping his presentation by filling up the screen completely.
That's correct. Yeah, he has to step off the mat here. It appears that's unavoidable, given his height, as you pointed out, that he's going to go off that mat. Yeah, but I don't see any, definitely don't see any change in style from the last one. So you would expect him to score similarly. No loss of balance there. I'm sure you've talked about this in past episodes, but for the more balance-oriented forms are suddenly a little less scary than they used to be in this video era. But you still have to deliver, certainly.
Right. And we've talked a lot about how there's some diminishing returns if you keep recording too many times. So maybe limiting yourself to how long you're going to spend before getting a run so that you don't get too tired and make your body tired before you have to record your next round as well.
That's right.
So another really nice score here for Ron Southwick, a 7.7. So his total score is a 7.69. That jets him up to first place for now. Again, we have 6 competitors in this semifinal round.
Good, we're chopping it up here at the Summer of Poomsae, presented by USA Taekwondo, and our special guest, 10-time Poomsae national team member, Garth Cooley. Garth, thanks for taking a few minutes, spending some time with us here this afternoon.
It's great to be here, Jason, and I just want to take a moment to thank you and Sherman and everybody behind the scenes. You're doing a fabulous job of getting information out, and this is a really cool thing that we're doing with the Summer of Poomsae. It's giving people the opportunity to compete, and particularly in a tough time. It's really, really neat to see, and I commend everybody, and especially want to, you and I have been friends for decades, and it's really great to see you involved.
Well, I enjoy it tremendously, and we've had so much fun, such high-level competition to this point, so could not be more impressed with the athlete's ability to just find a way, be flexible, get out there and find ways to compete, and again, compete whether it be in their dojang or their house, whatever it may be. But Garth, being the athlete that's been on the national team for Poomsae 10 times, and also the athlete who's been to more world championships than anyone else here at USA Taekwondo, your vast experience just obviously expands over many, many years. But tell the difference, just how is it so different to be doing a virtual competition over a live competition in big arenas all over the world?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it's in many ways, to me, I kind of miss the pressure. I miss the people. I miss the environment that I don't have. So it's getting yourself prepped and being motivated and training and performing pretty much in a very quiet place. I'm very fortunate, I think. I mean, I've been able to come to my dojang, and I have been impressed with what people have been able to do and adapt in the places they've done their Poomsae and their performances. So I really can't, I mean, from that standpoint, I think I've had it really, really easy. What's difficult about virtual is you can get into a position where you're chasing perfection, because you can record and I like this, but I don't like this. So you can repeat it. I honestly like the reality better. You get one shot and that's it. And that you live with what your errors are or what your accomplishments are. But in a virtual scenario, the preparation is a little bit different, and you may want to try to tweak it. So you can sit there and try to record yourself a million times, but at the end of the day, it really ends up being the first couple takes are the takes you use. At least that's the way it's been for me. And I haven't done it a million times, but I've definitely tried to do maybe 2 to 3 to 4 takes. And then I've done about 4 virtual events, including this one. So it's definitely a learning curve. It is different. I definitely miss the people and the environment and the interaction and
Right.
the crowd. It's something that's worth doing, and it's really, really great that we can flip and then turn on this scenario and make a really good opportunity for people.
No, you're right. It's just interesting you say. That's so fascinating to me that for you to say, hey, I did all these takes, but it's usually the first or second one. I never would have thought that, but I guess you are the freshest. That's closest to game time, if you will, because you simply have one shot at it once you get out there, and you've got to be on your game.
And Jason, you really need to put yourself, when you're performing like this, you really need to really get your mindset that way. And I think a lot of people do that. And that's what it turns out to be, that you end up really getting your game on. But again, the challenge to me is not having the environment and trying to bring that level out. But that being said, I mean, it's something that we learn how to do, and we pivot, we do.
Yeah, the adaptability of the athletes has been so impressive to me so far. So let's just switch gears for a sec. We have now a national Poomsae ranking system. We have pathways to the national team where you kind of virtually, you have to see it, but it's not just a 1 or 2 competition and you're on. You're going to work your way through the process. So now you have these processes out in front of you. How do you feel? What's your thoughts?
I think it's a great thing. It's long overdue. We should have had this a long time ago. I know that several of us that have been in this community the last decade or so, we've been pushing for this. So we're really grateful and appreciative that this is finally taking shape. I do hope, though, I mean, one thing I would say is, if you get down to your top athletes, and let's say you have 2 or 3, and let's say you do have a team trial where you have to actually decide who that team member is going to be toward the end of that. My opinion is that you need to have a full trial with all required Poomsae. One of the things that's been a little bit of a struggle is at team trials, and again, taking nothing away from how much work it takes, but when you are selecting on a limited number of Poomsae, I feel like there's a little bit of a disadvantage there, and it doesn't quite do it. So my hope is that with this pathways, and I think the idea of the major events and all those other things are great. I think it's great. My only other thought on it would be, if it gets down to 2 or 3 or 4 people, I hope that they'll do the right thing, and they'll actually have a selection where the trial will be inclusive of all the required Poomsae that they may have to do at a world event. Because I think you're going to get a better athlete that way.
No, it makes sense.
But other than that, no, I think it's really good, and I'm glad we're moving forward with that. And it'll be exciting to see how it shapes out.
Yeah, well, Garth, you truly are the consummate professional. I mean, every time we speak, I see why the other Poomsae athletes all look up to you and emulate you. So I just want to say congrats, good luck on this competition. Congrats on everything you've accomplished to this point. I mean, I know we're good friends, but I get to see you compete all the time, and I could not be more impressed with your ability to go out there and compete at the highest level. So
I appreciate your kind words, and I've had a lot of Master Southwick and Thurgeon, we're all together friends, and we help each other. So we're all pushing forward, and along with so many others, Master Chuang and the head coaches, and Master Brand, several others. So it's been really, really a great experience, and let's just keep plugging along, and let's look forward to a lot of great competition at the Summer of Poomsae and moving forward. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Of course, you guys heard it. It's Garth Cooley, 10-time national Poomsae team member, also competitor here at the Summer of Poomsae, presented by USA Taekwondo. Garth, thanks again for your time.
You bet. Thanks, Jason. Take care. Good luck. Keep up the great work.
Thanks.
And now we have Garth Cooley, another well-known Poomsae and sparring athlete. One of the first, I think, maybe to really succeed in both Poomsae and sparring. We've mentioned a few other athletes throughout this tournament, but Master Cooley's been around forever. He just has such great legs and length. You can see here, he's also one of the taller athletes, but just so much control in that core to really keep the body upright on the kicks. Here's our side kick bar here. Such control and extension. That's really good flexibility, especially for this division. I feel like that's good for my division right now. Such good control.
Indeed, his side kicks have always been outstanding and extremely high for his division. He's even taller than Master Southwick. So,
giants of the division.
Indeed.
In more ways than one. Well, so given what we saw for Master Southwick, I feel like Master Cooley's going to come up here with a high score given the presentation. Yeah, wow, 7.9. So again, accuracy 337, presentation now up to 4.5. This is one of the higher scores I've seen across multiple divisions. Let's see how he does with Chuang.
Master Cooley listed good friend Grandmaster David Turgeon as one of his coaches, in addition to Grandmaster CK Yoon. But Master Cooley just coming off of actually Grandmaster Cooley, just came off of a gold medal at the 2019 World Cup in Wuxi, China. That was a big milestone for him. I think he had to advance over some pretty strong competitors to earn that. Hails from Indiana. Again, like Master Southwick, from the very earliest days of the U.S. National Poomsae team in 2006, he was on those original teams, has seen the Poomsae movement grow, and coming from his roots as also one of the very best sparring competitors of his era. You know, really, if you ask people who the outstanding athletes from the early 90s were, his name comes up again and again.
And I love that just because you maybe are done with your sparring career doesn't mean that you have to stop being an athlete. These divisions really prove that at any age you can join Taekwondo, you can start doing Poomsae and still be very successful. Very solid performance, great consistency throughout, really great height on the kicks. I don't know if we'll see an 8, but I expect very high. So close, 7.97.
Wow, that's some great prognostication.
That's a great score. So that puts Grandmaster Garth Cooley up in first place for now, and we have 2 more competitors to go.
Yeah, that was a really nice performance. So Master Un Lee, hailing from Texas, was a national Poomsae team member in 2018, where he earned a silver medal at the World Poomsae Championships in Taipei. I think you see a different body type, very different body type than both Master Cooley and Master Southwick, and so it's really interesting to see that contrast in styles.
Right, looks like Master Lee's maybe a little bit more grounded, lower to the floor, really showing the transitions and stances.
That's right.
And we're seeing multiple national team members here in this division, so it is going to be a fight for that top spot.
That's right.
I think very solid overall. Like you said, different style, a little bit different tempo, a little bit more intentional maybe. So 7.76 here. That'll put him in the middle of some of our top athletes. But again, like almost all of these athletes are scoring in the 7s. This is a very competitive division already.
I think these are some of the highest scores, yeah, I've seen for the entire event. Yeah.
And since that tournament in 2018, the World Championships, he's been continuing to place very highly in the U.S. as well as U.S. Open. He won a gold medal in 2019. So he is really, approaching the competition and the tournament circuit. And I think that he'll probably do very well in the pathways, given how we want athletes to go to multiple tournaments, show that consistency, and he has that consistency. So I expect him to do quite well in this new pathways.
That's really nice volume on that low knife hand block. I really like how his body's really turning, really opening up, and then staying grounded. While his kicking height might not be as high as Master Cooley's, certainly he really does show really outstanding presentation in his basic movements.
One other thing we want to mention as everybody's watching these episodes is this is one of our first ranked events for USA Taekwondo that you can get points to be ranked.
Good.
Be very
And
fast. Yep.
just by participating, you get points in this event. And it's a range from 20 to 80 points from prelims to the first place. So we just saw there an 8.0. So we got somebody with an 8.0. They really liked that second form there. But the average puts him just under Master Cooley. So a fight there for 1, 2, and 3. But again, nobody is getting cut. All of these athletes will again go into the finals.
We have Dan Williams from Livingston Taekwondo, coached by Bob Maves.
Another name we've heard a lot of, Master Maves, and a great group of athletes from, it seems like, around the country.
That's right. Coach Maves, another longtime participant in this process, was a former national team coach himself. Maybe just seeing a little bit of less clarity on the movement than the past competitors, but really nice posture. I like how he's really staying upright during his moves.
And a little bit of a quicker tempo. So maybe he's, really comfortable with the form. You can allow yourself to speed it up. We see that with choreo. A lot of athletes seem a lot more comfortable with choreo just because it's your first black belt form. But here we have a 7.17 for Dan Williams' first form. And this will be the last form for the division, and then we will see those rankings for the athletes to go into the finals. They will know their order.
Yeah, he seems just a little more grounded on this form. The slower moves give you that time to settle into your stances just a little more.
And seeing some nice core turns. Shoulders are really pushing through on these motions, which is nice. Pretty good flexibility there on that side kick.
Yeah.
And good alignment too.
That's a tough one. Left side kick out of front stance.
Good control coming out. I do think as he sped up the tempo, maybe the hands lost a little bit of their accuracy, but I do like the pushing the tempo a little bit if you can control it. I think he will get a pretty solid score. This one does seem pretty comfortable for him. I know when I was watching these forms as a younger athlete and getting to see the really cool hand motions, I really wanted to learn Chuang. So I think that freestyle athletes also get to learn them because there are moves that you can take and then put into your freestyle forms. So just because it's not your competition form doesn't mean that you can't learn it if you ask your master. And another 7.17, so his total score again, 7.17. Let's see where he finishes in this group of 6. 5th place there. So really just a really strong group of competitors here. And that will be their reverse order for this final round on another episode.
Hey, I'm Maura Hall. I'm from upstate New York, Saratoga Springs. I'm in the female under 60 black belt. And I haven't been competing all that long. This would be my 2nd year of competitions.
So what's it like from going from like being the mom, like outside the studio, to being taught by your sons?
Actually, we all teach, so we know the way it works. When I'm here, he's not my son, and my younger son is not, he's my coach. Patrick's my trainer, he's my instructor. Off the mat, that's not the deal. But we're really good at switching roles there. They've both worked for me at various points. And when they work for me, I'm not mom, I'm their employer. When I'm training, they're not my kids, they're my teachers. The nice thing is that we all have a really good idea of each other's standards. They know what I'm trying to do. They don't let me cheat. When I tested for my 4th, my kids tested me. It was really great because they were going to make sure I really had to earn, everything I do.
And so what's it like getting to go to competitions and actually having your sons be out there in the mat coaching you?
I really like that aspect of it. They've been competing longer than I have. They got into the competition much before I did. And, you know, I'd be up in the stands and I'd run and get the water bottle and do all this. And then they'd go, you know, into holding and I couldn't tell what was going on. It's a lot of fun to be able to be in holding with them and just talk and do things.
All right, that was Mara Hall, and we are now seeing the women's under 60 black belt division, and this is the semifinal round. There are 9 athletes in this division, so we will be dropping the last place to take the top 8 into finals. And it looks like the first form here is going to be choreo.
Master Hall, have interacted with her a lot over the years. The competition, her sons competed in the collegiate league that you and I are very active in, Miyako, the Eastern Collegiate Taekwondo Conference, and always having great conversations, so open. It's great to be able to, she talks about sparring with her sons late at night, you know, to help them prepare for their competition. So again, not very many moms that I hear about helping sparring their sons to help them prepare for competition. So that's pretty awesome to have that kind of bond with your kids.
Absolutely. I love hearing the stories about families training together and enjoying now seeing the different ages of the families compete in this tournament. And actually seeing studios, so seeing lots of people from the same studio, also getting to see teammates compete. So here we go, first score of 6.06.
Yeah, she's doing a great job with her basics, but there is some shakiness in some of the transitions and kicks, so she's score reflecting that.
So the women here also doing Chuang.
That's right, and there are 9 competitors in this division, so I believe that this is an elimination round. 1 competitor will be eliminated before, and the reverse order will be contested in the finals.
I think that we're seeing pretty good extension here on the arms as she goes through all the motions. But maybe if she could sit just a little bit lower, it would help with that groundedness look so that the judges have a really nice visual that just floats across the floor. But I am really enjoying the volume of motion that she has on the top and how smooth her arms are.
Yeah, she's good upper body flexibility.
And some nice moves that you don't see anywhere else in the Poomsae. Makes it special when you do it, just like in Yukjang, you have those only round kicks. Chungkwon has a lot of really unique moves that I think maybe makes it a little bit harder to learn, but very interesting to watch. And everybody takes a slightly different approach to those last moves. So a little bit lower accuracy there, a few things to clean up on the hands and feet. So overall, a 5.7 for Mara Hall, taking that first spot for now. Again, 9 competitors, top 8 will move on.
Oh, I like the fabric. That's nice.
Nice backdrop.
I know. Right?
This is Angela Pullen from Al's Black Belt Club.
That's right, coached by Master Al Kahar and Master Brian Zhang. She enjoys reading, quilting, singing, and playing keyboard. You do see a lot of musicians in Poomsae.
Absolutely. A lot of crossover in the creativity field, understanding rhythm and tempo, being able to apply that understanding mentally into having your body do it. And I feel like that's a hard skill to find. So good carryover between musicians and dancers as well.
Yeah, she has some nice qualities here. Again, a little bit of extra movement on some of the transitions, but I feel like she is doing a good job of locking into her position, and just you can see that she's on the right track. So I think definitely one to watch.
6.43. So accuracy, like we said, a little bit lower, but that's a fairly high presentation for that accuracy. So I think as soon as she can clean up some of those accuracies, she's going to be a strong competitor in this division.
Right, and that third judge, a little bit of minority opinion there. So you do see all three judges in this format, all three judges count. So you will see her being pulled down just a little bit by that. And that's nice. Yeah, I like that. She's doing a good job with her stances here.
Showing a difference of speed. So we have nice quick motions, control of the 5 counts, and
Oh,
good
that was
body
very
engagement.
balanced. Yeah, on that side kick, really good balance.
Slight balance check there, but overall still looking like very solid in her core. Her body weight is good stacked over the back leg on those back stances.
Yeah, I agree. Nicely done.
So is that a fun move for athletes, or is it a dreaded move for balance and you work yourself up for it as you do it, like I do sometimes on Kumgang crane stances?
Yeah, no, I think that is definitely one that is a challenge for especially for the older divisions. Puts a lot of stress on a lot of different parts of your body, but I think everyone has handled it very well.
I haven't seen anybody really fall out, so they must spend a lot of time prepping for it. And I know it's one of the fun moves, especially for pairs and teams, to see them work out the timing of that and all of these slower moves as well. Bit of a range on the presentation score there, but overall 6.32. And that puts her in first place. So she will automatically now be going into the finals. Next up, we have Artavia Edwards from Iya Taekwondo. Her coach is Dai Lor. Another tall athlete.
Nice lines, nice extension. Maybe a little bit, footwork could be a little bit cleaner. Some double pivots in there. Choreo is one of the forms that's the first one you learn as a black belt, but it's also one of the most challenging ones. Wouldn't you say, Miyako?
I don't think it really gets easier. You are comfortable with the pattern, but there's so much to always be working on in choreo. You have the front kick bar where you want to attack it, the side kicks where you have to control the landings, and then this flowing bar in the back where you have to really show that volume of motion on the hands. So it's really, I feel like you have to be a good, well-rounded Poomsae athlete to show choreo well.
Agreed.
So we took some hits on accuracy, like you mentioned, at 2.10 there. Range of scores, 1.8 to 2.4 in accuracy. So some judges seeing some things that others weren't. I feel like sometimes, I mentioned this with some of the other taller athletes, it can be harder to sink into the stances on the forms just because you're so tall. But if you can make those stances lock out at a lower level, it looks so nice with the extensions of the arms and the lock on the back leg. So we can't quite see them from this angle, but if we get some of the other bars going sideways, I think it'll be nice to see.
Absolutely. It says here that she has run over 60 marathons. That explains her very lean appearance. I think you need that kind of physique to run that many marathons. That is a very impressive.
I have run a 5K and I found it very difficult.
Okay. I'm with you on that running myself.
I think running is another sport where you can do it at any age and different approaches at different ages, but you can still compete throughout the ages. So I love that she's able to compete in marathons and continue running, and I'm sure that endurance helps with Poomsae, especially with doing so many rounds for this tournament.
Yeah, I think it's overlooked sometimes, the endurance that is necessary to run a full competition, because you do need to maintain your body and keep it warm throughout the day.
And especially as we get into these older age divisions, I'm sure that they have tips and tricks for keeping your body warm and loose, really taking care of it. So if you're at tournaments, go find them. They have so many tips to help us stay athletes into our older years. Wealth of knowledge. Here we go with a 5.87. So that sneaks her into second place. And we have, again, 9 athletes in this semifinal round. And now another well-known athlete, coach, referee, sparring, and Poomsae athlete here. I don't have enough time to say good things about Master Elva Adams.
Of course, our most recent Olympic referee, in addition to being a world silver medalist in Poomsae for the over 30 team division.
And attended the Olympics herself back in the day for sparring.
She is an Olympic bronze medalist as well as a world gold medalist in sparring, a world champion in sparring. So for someone with as many credentials as she has, she's incredibly grounded and humble about it, and one of the just most hyper competent people in everything she does. So she served as head of team for our World Cup team in 2019, and it just has been a great asset to us on every trip that she's been on. But looking strong here, no surprise. There's a real battle in this division at the Grand Slam final, as I recall, very narrow margin. So we'll see how the standings are today as well. But really nice side kicks, really nice power. It's a solid score.
Really high presentation here. And Master Adams, this is her first year, I believe, in this division. And I know she was excited to age up and get that gold coat.
That's right.
I'm always impressed. The women's under 60 and the women's under 50 divisions are so popular. There are so many athletes. And I think it's great that a lot of them are moms and they take their kids and join, and then they end up rejoining once their kids get older, maybe go to college and have time. And it's such a competitive division. These women are such great athletes, showing both flexibility, strength, power, control. I think we're seeing a lot of those qualities right now by Master Adams. Great flexibility on the side kick. Good stacking of the weight on the back stances.
Yeah, her core is really strong, that's for sure. I think you'll see some good contrast in styles at a very high level in this division. Wow, that was really a very athletic 360 spin. So she's showing her athleticism in this moment here.
It's always impressive for any age of athlete if you can see the front kicks above your head when you're going backwards. And we just saw that from Master Adams here. So really great flexibility, control, really solid run. I think that should be a really high score for her chunk one.
Sure.
7.9, yeah, presentation crept up there to 4.6. So one of the higher presentations we've seen, total of 7.85. And like we said, this was a competitive division at the Grand Slam, so we will have more athletes coming in, giving her a run for her money, but that was a really great, solid performance there from Master Elva Adams.
We have Cindy another person who's perennially at the top of the leaderboard. And you'll see a lot, perhaps slower, more relaxed style, but also very grounded. Look at those lines. That's so nice. When you were just talking about being able to sink low into those stances and how that really extends your body, I think here's a great example of that. Nice core turn and volume on every move here, and her stance is really squared out and fantastic stability on that side kick. So this is a really A run here. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, really great control, especially coming out of those side kicks. Body came up so fast, allowing her to sink into that stance with full control. Another former USA Poomsae team member, also just aged into this division, so going to be very competitive here.
Also out of Texas, USCR Taekwondo, Oak Point.
And she also just competed in the first Oceania Open online Poomsae event. So she has experience here doing some of these online virtual tournaments, bringing in a 7.66 on her first form.
준비. 시작.
Showing some really good body engagement and twist here on these slower motions. Pretty good alignment there on that side kick, and I could definitely feel the extension. There was a good pop on the side kick.
And she's really chosen a very different tempo, interestingly, for this second form. It's almost like she adjusted, but of course we know that she recorded both of them ahead of time. Yes, in this video format, you don't have that chance to adjust, so you really have to plan strategically with your Poomsae and try to find a style that you think will score well consistently across a variety of different interpretations. So as a coach, I know that I am learning to think differently around this type of event. Strong finish.
That's really nice from Cindy. I think we'll see another high score here, maybe even higher than her first, 7.6. But again, really high presentation there, 4.5. So accuracy maybe just a little bit lower than a couple of the other athletes, but really nice overall score of 7.63.
So again, the top 8 will advance, and they'll be seated in the finals in the reverse order of their forms.
네. 준비.
We have Belinda Ko. Interestingly, she's also coached by Coach Mapes, as we mentioned earlier, that name coming up a lot. She's on the Canadian national team, sporting her national team uniform.
And like we mentioned, I think she's the first international athlete that I've seen, but this is open to USAT and non-USAT members. So cadets, juniors, if you're watching, you do not have to be from the US to compete in this tournament. Great international exposure, and get to compete against some of the best from the US. It's great to see Belinda here, putting in a very solid performance.
Very well-known figure on the Poomsae scene, and just a really outstanding, friendly person. It really draws our community a little bit closer together, so appreciate her a lot.
And she was just recently promoted to third dan, so congratulations, Belinda. 7.17 on her first form.
And she was on Team Canada for the 2020 World Poomsae Championships, which were unfortunately canceled. Her hobby is painting miniature World War II US and German soldiers. So I have to admit that is one survey response I have not seen yet.
But it's artistic, different kinds of artistic exposure. I feel like you have to have such good eyesight and control, really good hand control to paint those little figures. And I'm seeing such great hand control here, Coach Chuang.
Wow, yeah.
Totally carrying over.
Absolutely does. Yeah, maybe a little excess hip movement here in some of the larger motions, but some good power in here.
And I think we lost a little bit of the control in some of the more dynamic bars, but I think she has a really great presentation. Like, she takes up a good amount of space, knows her body size, and presents it really well, which I feel like takes a while to figure out your style for your body.
Yeah.
And she's competed long enough to give us a really good presentation here on both of those forms.
Yeah, I like her finish there. She did a great job.
7.3, so coming up a little bit on the accuracy, and 4.3 for presentation. Total of 7.24. That will put her in the upper spots here in 3rd place currently. Pretty solid gap both above and below, and she's definitely going into finals, so I look forward to seeing her next round. This is Amber Smith, and her club is The Rock, which I hope was named after Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because that would be amazing.
Coached by Darren Carr, who was coach of Madeline Gorman-Shore, one of our academy athletes.
Also one of the taller athletes, it looks like, but sinking and showing some really nice deep stances.
Oh, I like her focus there on that 8 count. It's really nice. Yeah, maybe just a little extra movement there on some of the compound moves.
Yeah, so body maybe not completely locking out, hands and feet at the same time, a little bit of extra movement. But overall, I think really nice presentation, good reach on the arms, and a score here of 6.57. Nice long arm extensions on that first push.
Yeah, that was some nice posture there.
This bar here, there's a stance that we don't see anywhere else when they come up, and that back foot slides up just a little bit. Only time that I know of that those are in the Poomsae.
That's right. It goes from 3.5 feet or 4 to 3.5 feet to 3 feet long. And really turning that foot forward does tax the calf flexibility a little bit too.
Pretty nice smooth turn.
Everyone's rocking the 360 turn.
Yeah. And one more big arm motion here. Really nice extension. It's really nice finish. I think really showing her arm extension on those last 2 moves gives the judges a really nice lasting impression for the presentation points. We'll see how this second form comes out on the score. 3.9 on presentation, so a couple accuracy hits there, 2.7, but really nice presentation coming through for that total of 6.6, and then her final score of 6.58.
Puts her in 4th place. Again, the top 8 moving on. Score to beat is 5.7.
Here's Jan Trigg. Again, we're seeing that parking garage that Master Southwick used earlier in this episode. Jen's been working really hard. She also just aged up into this division.
Yeah, nice stances. She's really pushing the length there.
Good
Nice.
front kick flexibility, yeah.
I feel like her stability has improved since the last time I saw her. Training with the Michigan State University Taekwondo Club and are coached by Coach David Turgeon. That's for David Turgeon. Hope she doesn't hit the wall here.
Yeah, she's really pushing the length of the stances, which looks very nice.
I agree. She spent a few months in France training Poomsae recently, so nice to see that having an effect and impacting her Poomsae in a positive way. Training with some national.
Yeah, she just retired and said, you know, I really want to train this Poomsae. I'm going to really devote a lot of time to it, and I think it's definitely showing that last year to this year, big improvement here, 7.4. Really nice, 3.0 and 4.4. That's really great. She's going to be up there in the standings, and here's her second form. Really nice shoulder and core turn here on these slower motions.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big changes I've seen in her Poomsae is, oh, a nice side kick. That's really good alignment. That volume on her core turn seems to have improved a lot.
And I think stance stability, there's still a little bit of movement in some of those more dynamic bars, but overall, I feel like she's showing really good lock in the stances.
Yeah. I think one of the great things about Poomsae is while you may be competing against others, ultimately you can really see your personal journey and your personal improvement over a long period of time. I think that's certainly been true for Jan.
Overall, I think that was a really great finish from Jan. I know she's also involved with the National Collegiate Taekwondo community. She's one of our referee chairs, I believe, from this past year. So great to see that she's involved in multiple different areas of Taekwondo and Poomsae. Another 7.4 here. Judges appreciating the work that she put in, definitely. And that puts her into third place here. Really great performance. We have one more athlete. Diana Adamowitz from Apex Tiger Martial Arts. And her coach is Giduk Gun, who we also have many athletes from.
A lot of really strong cadet and junior athletes coming out of his school recently.
Showing a little bit quicker tempo here on that first bar and second bar. Maybe taking a few accuracy hits. The side kick's a little bit low for this division.
Right, that will probably be a couple of majors and a lot of side kicks and choreo, so we'll see how much that hurts her accuracy score, but transitions and hand techniques looking solid.
Yeah, I think accuracy on her hands is actually very good. Good extension, seeing lock in the arm, so we'll just see if those side kicks will take a hit on her score. 2.5 there for accuracy, so not too low, maybe not majors. Total score of 6.17. And there is some amount of flexibility in the scoring there as the divisions get higher for the hits on accuracy for the kicking height, I believe. But of course, the higher the kicks are, the better the overall score will be. We're seeing some turn on that back leg there. It's pretty straight on the front stances and turning in when she comes.
That's actually really good flexibility to be able to hit that position, but that is an incorrect position. So unfortunately, she may see some deductions for that.
I think maybe just a little bit forward lean on her body in some of these stances as well. But I like that she's taking a little bit more aggressive tempo. Good volume of motion here on this move. Nice and quick motions.
Yeah, that's nice volume. I think everyone really looks solid and grounded on this last move. But if all goes well, she will sneak into the top 8 as well.
Sure.
And
Try to connect.
We'll see her a second time around.
So accuracy there, 2.1, maybe a little bit lower for some of those stances that we saw. Total of 5.87, 6.02 total score for Diana. And she does. She goes into 7th place, so she will be moving on to the finals. Again, top 8 here will move to finals, and it will be in reverse order. And we have our next division, under 60 female red belt. This is Eleanor Thompson. She is from U.S. Taekwondo Center Lehman, and her coach is Master Ho-Jun Park. Here, starting with Yuk Jong. Pretty good flexibility there. I didn't see barely any body dip. Her body position is so high up on these kicks, showing good flexibility. Good stance control as well. Yeah, look at that. Barely any bend in her upper body, no dip. Very impressive, especially for the under 60 division. I think maybe a little bit of body wiggles as she's hitting some of those stances, but this is a very solid form. Also being a red belt, she should be aging up, getting a black belt soon, hopefully. And then she will be an impressive black belt competitor here, 7.17. I'm excited to see what she does next.
And we'll get to see her another time in the finals, so that's it's nice.
And her second form here, Jung. Continuing with that really great upper body position on those kicks. Very impressive, her flexibility in keeping the core up.
Yeah, agreed.
One thing here, it's hard. Sometimes we don't remember to really turn those hips with this 8 count, the whole 8 count, as opposed to just the first or few counts at the end. But good reach here on the arms. Again, one of the harder bars there to lift that front kick from that cat stance, really just engage your hips and that hamstring to pull it straight up.
She did a great job on that jumping double front kick. Really stable on the landing.
Yeah, and really nice locked out on those front stances. Again, I think she's going to do really well once she hits black belt. This is the under 60 female red belt division. So Eleanor Thompson, I'm excited for you to test for your black belt and come into this new division.
7.1.
7.1.
Very nice. And that says here that she's been competing in a number of online championships during this period. So racking up that experience while it's easy to do so without traveling. That's great.
Yeah, I think getting feedback from judges from different places, and really you can compete all around the world. So how do judges in Asia feel versus there's an upcoming tournament in Europe? So getting that experience, I think, really showing here in this USAT Summer of Poomsae. Moving on now to our next division, the male under 65 black belt division. We have William Gamble, our first competitor of 3, and this is the semifinal round.
Coach Barbara Brand, Master Barbara Brand. William placed 3rd at the US Open. He's also a classical composer and plays early Baroque and Renaissance music on the harpsichord.
That's amazing.
It's awesome.
I've seen William before at tournaments, always really excited. He has such a great approach to competitions, really just wants to go out there and do his best and see how he's improved. So I think that's such a great approach to Poomsae. Good to see him out here, also at past tournaments.
I always enjoy watching Hansu. It's a form we don't get to see very often. And one of the only forms that you move on a diagonal line in the World Taekwondo forms. So it's really fun to watch.
And second form here will be choreo. So 2 difficult forms here for these men in the under 65 male division.
Oh, that's really nice recovery off those side kicks. Really nice frame. You see maybe on the neck, there's a little bit of movement there between the head and the body. But below that, I think he's doing a good job of moving into and out of each stance.
Absolutely. I'm seeing maybe just a couple of pre-steps here and there, but really his heels are staying on the ground on his transitions. We're not seeing the heel collapse and come up in some of those harder 270 or 180 transitions. So I think William's been working really hard here. It's coming through in a good space too, really open. Maybe not great for stomping, but nice open space for Poomsae.
Definitely. Training and working out on hard tiled surfaces, definitely very, very challenging particularly for older competitors. It looks like he got 3 deductions. I'm guessing those are for movements that were out of frame or something like that. So I wasn't paying close attention to that, but that is my guess.
Yeah, I missed that too. You did see that little box pop up on the score though, next to the judges scoring. So we could go back and take another look at that. But overall, I do think that that was a good performance from William. Now to our second competitor, James Park from Parks Martial Arts.
Who I believe is our 2020 national team member in this division. Just
Doing
aged.
really great control in those transitions.
Almost looks like he's dancing from move to move, huh? He has such a nice rhythm. I associate this with really the kind of when I see the older videos of the founders, who created these Poomsae. This reminds me very much of that. Whole body movement, nice rhythm, nice flow.
Good kicks and finishing right on his spot.
Bro.
Really nice first round there, 7.5. High accuracy and performance there. So judges definitely agreeing with you, sir, and really liking what they saw.
준비.
Choreo here, so a lot more side kicks. Again, not the highest as we get up into these older age division, but just such control and intention with pushing the kicks exactly where they are. So here we're coming up to face height, but I feel like I can just feel the power coming through the screen.
Yeah, I guess it really comes down to if the referees give any leeway for this division in terms of kicking height, whether or not he'll get a major or minor deduction for those kicks. But everything else about this form really looking just like the last form, really nice. I do think his stability was perhaps just a little better in the last form, so I would expect to see just a slightly lower score in this one than the last one. We'll
Seeing
see.
some of those front knees and the front stances moving a little bit side to side in that last bar. But really nice presentation. Yep, so accuracy down just a little bit. Total 7.44. Really nice form there. His total score here, 7.47. And there's only 3 competitors, but this is the semifinal round. So we will see all 3 competitors again in the finals in a future episode. Our last competitor here for this division is Joseph Coughlin. He's from U.S. Taekwondo Center, and his coach is Ho-Jun Park. So we just saw another athlete, Eleanor, just a few minutes ago. Same coach. Looks like maybe a basement practice space.
Yeah, that carpet looks comfortable. Better than the concrete to work out, that's for sure.
Maybe a little bit more careful approach here to rhythm.
Right. Maybe not
kicking
quite
around the pole.
Yeah, that's right. He chose wisely his trajectory here. Nice. He's got to be a little careful about his line of sight on that last move, but good. I think we'll see if he comes in second or third. I do think he will probably be one of those 2 positions.
5.97 here, so a little bit lower on the accuracy side, 2.37 there. Couple stance hits and then hands following after, so timing not quite together. A little bit of body shifting, but overall I think it's just a matter of getting comfortable with the form and then really working into hitting hands and feet at the same time. This one looks already more comfortable than the last form.
I think everyone always looks a little more comfortable when they hit choreo for the most part. It's one that burned into our brains.
Right, even though it's hard, you do know it.
Yeah, that was a nice job in that big 180 spin there. But yeah, you do see a lot of bending at the waist here on transitions. So that's something maybe a little more back engagement would help with. But good attention to detail. He's been well coached. His head coming out of frame here. So we'll see if he receives a deduction for these moves and if that pulls him to second or third place. But great to see 3 athletes in this under 65 division. I know
Some of the masters who've been on the team before didn't have much competition and always really want more people to compete, and they encourage everyone to keep competing as you get older. So we love seeing people in these divisions keep competing, come to the next tournaments. Really helps everybody get better with more athletes involved. So a 5.63 here on that second form, taking some accuracy hits for a total of 5.80 for Joseph. And we'll see our listing here for our 3 athletes.
That pulls him down to 3rd place. I do wonder if going out of frame there did hurt him or not. I don't know if that appeared as a separate deduction or not. But we're in the under 65 female black belt division. Of course, we have national Poomsae team coach Barbara Brand coaching. She's been on a tear, doing very well. Recently placed first at the Oceania Poomsae Open.
Showing really great flexibility on the front kicks on that first bar.
It seems like her flexibility has improved actually over recent years. So I know what a hard worker she is and what a very determined individual Master Brand is. So, I think this is looking really good, really strong, more relaxed than what I'm used to seeing from her too. So it's just great to see her Poomsae continue to grow and develop. She is the under 65 2020 national team member for this year.
Coming out with a really strong performance there from our team member. And of course, we've heard Coach Brand on commentary, been traveling with the team for many years. So well-known, great person to be around with, and just pulled out a 7.27 on her first form. And this is the semifinal round. We have 4 athletes in the under 65 female black belt division. So they all will be moving on again to the finals, but this will give them their scores for seeding.
Coach Brand just moved up into this division from the under 60, where she was also a perennial medalist, vying within the top 1, 2, or 3 in those divisions, back and forth with a couple of other very well-known competitors.
Taking her time here on Shipjin a little bit. I like the contrast and timing of some of those stabs into the double punches. Really helps show the speed of the double punch. And we have the front kick bar coming up. We'll see if her front kicks look great from this angle as well. Yep, creeping there above her head. It's so great.
That's really great to see, yeah.
Good core twist there. And then of course, Shipjin, that last bar is going to the back, and all of our judges now are only seeing this view. We don't have any judges from the back, so you have to really engage your core, use both hands to show the judges something visual on those last moves. And coming here with a 7.33 for Shipjin, for a total of 7.3. And she is the first competitor setting a very high bar here for this semifinal round of female under 65 black belts.
Christine Hislop from First Taekwondo, coached by Ruben Lally. Longtime coach for both the NCTA and for USA Taekwondo.
Showing great flexibility there. So side kicks a little bit lower than her front kicks were. I like the signs in the back says Poomsae what?
Hailing from Scottsdale, Arizona. Maybe just a little loss of balance there.
Yeah, so those 180 transitions can be really hard, especially at the end of Tebek. I know I always get tired by the end. So seeing maybe some of that instability there coming through. Yep, accuracy took a little bit of a hit, 2.4, so total there 5.63 on this first form.
I do appreciate the Poomsae what sign in the background there. One has to wonder the story behind that one.
Maybe an inside joke. Somebody can comment on the YouTube and let us know what it is. This one's nice. I feel like it's a little bit slower tempo here. She's able to stay a little bit more grounded and solid in her stances. Still some shifting weight in some of those stances. They're not completely stacked or not completely centered, but good control, I think, in the hands. Want to add in maybe a little bit more hip involvement in those boulder pushes, but nice alignment there in the back. Here's our front kick bar. She showed some good flexibility in her first form, so let's see if she can control the upper body here as she pushes these front kick heights.
Oh. That's a really nice height, and a nice transition to front stance, nice and deep.
Yeah, really nice last 2 bars there for
I think
Christine.
it's easy to underestimate how difficult it is to complete these poses and to really move with power from transition to transition like this, especially in the older age divisions. So these are really, truly extraordinary athletes, you know, who are in the top 1% of their age group's capabilities here. So it's really great to see that we can be athletes in Poomsae at later in life, and that you know, it can be a lifelong pursuit of excellence.
Speaking of excellence,
we have 2018 world champion Julie Trigigel, excuse me, coached by Poksun Yang.
and Julie's flexibility is just incredible. She can do the splits. She does yoga. She really takes care of her body, and she is just an all-around amazing person. Let's look at these side kicks here. This is the under 65 division, ladies and gentlemen. I would like my side kicks to look like that. She is so amazing. And control, full body motion. And she's been working really hard as well. You know, she took a little bit of time off, been focusing, training still, and I think that it's coming through here.
That's right. She's completed a move recently and coming back to the sport. But man, what a competitor. Mental toughness and visualization. It was a pleasure. I had the chance to work with her a little bit in 2018 Taipei, and it's just a pleasure.
And so humble as well. So here, a 7.37. Really great first score. And here's our second form. So Shipjin starting a little bit more forward. Always a good idea when you have a limited space for Shipjin.
There's nothing like realizing that you lined up too far to the back halfway through this form. So it's good to see that she's taken the appropriate actions, and she's even moved the mats into the right place so that she doesn't have to step off.
Right, really great mat placement as well. Only on that one side. She knows exactly. She's practiced, you can tell. And not the first round.
I'm admiring her flexibility even in her stances, looking at the way her rear knee is turning out in those back stances. That's some hip flexibility required to even do that. So, you know, she has a lot of really strong things. Perhaps, you know, not quite as stable as Coach Brand in the first form. So there is a trade in different styles of execution here, but she definitely has a lot of strengths. So definitely one to watch, I hope, for many years to come competing.
Right, so Coach Brand just aged up into this division. Julie is 64 years old this year. So only a couple of years left before she'll be moving up into the next age division. Different styles, different body types. Coach Brand a little bit shorter, really grounded. Julie really tall, flexibility. So it'll be interesting to see how the judges like the styles. Again, this is only the semifinal round, so we will see all of the competitors again in the finals in a future episode. But this will put them into their standing for the finals.
Looks like they really rewarded her, 7.53 on the presentation, especially. Really like those high kicks.
And that does sneak her past Coach Brand by 0.15 there. And we have one more competitor for the semifinal round. This is Colleen Cooley from Ong's Taekwondo, coached by Master Angelito Ong, who I believe we saw compete.
I believe no relation to Master Cooley that I know of, to Garth Cooley. Maybe a hand placement a little bit, some issues here in terms of accuracy. I love her backdrop though, man. If only all of us could have such a beautiful two-story stand.
Right, maybe not located in a city.
Yeah, that would be a challenge, I think. But it's a beautiful space, beautiful backdrop. It looks like she took the wrong foot movement there, so it might be a major deduction there. But she's moving with determination through this form. Definitely moving every move with intention. I love her lines of eyesight. She's really in the moment and focused. But there will be some accuracy deductions on this form.
Mm-hmm. I do love, again, just seeing athletes in this division come out. We encourage everybody else to watch and then try competing yourself. There's much less pressure now that you don't have to travel to tournaments. So it's easier to get involved. And like Coach mentioned here, a lot of hits on accuracy, but presentation is coming through. So I think once we clean up some of that accuracy, she will really see a quick increase in her scores.
Absolutely. She's a huge upside, huge upside. And again, just the low barrier to entry to competing at this time and at events like Summer of Poomsae, I think it's just such a gift to the Poomsae world right now. And although I coach both Poomsae and sparring, I really have told my Poomsae athletes that, this is your time to really shine and for our sport to shine. Poomsae is certainly not something that everyone always thinks of as being a really dynamic sport. Obviously, freestyle a little more dynamic by first appearance, but in my opinion, there is a lot to it, and there is a lot to be gleaned from watching every performance. I really don't get bored watching high-level Poomsae one after another. I really don't. So I hope others come to appreciate that and develop their eyes as well for this sport.
Absolutely. I know that at first they can seem like you're just memorizing the patterns, but then the more you watch, the more you learn. You're really looking for, how are they using their core? How are you engaging your power, and how do you express power? What kind of rhythm and tempo are you going to show? So there's so much that can come through individual styles here, which is great. Again, especially as you age up into the divisions, everybody can keep competing.
Right.
We saw Colleen Cooley again with her second form. Again, I'm sure that as soon as she cleans up some of her accuracy, we will see a quick increase in that score. And she will be moving on to finals. We'll see all 4 athletes again in the final round in a future episode. Top 2 there with Julie and Coach Brand. They will fight it out again, I'm sure, in the finals.
Back here, the Summer of Poomsae, Jason Poos with Jim Harp, the over 65 black belt division competitor. One of our great competitors in that division. You guys are the seasoned veterans, if you will, of Poomsae and, of course, of the Summer of Poomsae. So, Jim, first, thank you so much for taking a minute of your time today to meet with me here on the Summer of Poomsae.
You're certainly welcome, Jason. Glad to be here.
Well, let's get right into it. Talk a little bit about our ranking system and our pathways, because now the Poomsae team process is laid right out in front of you. You have a national ranking system. You can see yourself ranked in the top 1, 2, or 3, but ultimately you want to be that number 1 spot. Of course, there's pathways now that you're going to see to go to specific competitions to ultimately get yourself on that national team and compete for Team USA. What's your thoughts?
Well, I like it overall because it's a lot more clear. Under the old system, where it just depends who came in first place at the national championships, you could be on that day or be off that day. And if you were off, then, essentially you were out. I mean, because it was your only shot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question. We feel that definitely looking at it, the consistency is going to be a key. It's going to be a major factor in this. So you're right. If you're on one day or off one day, it can't make or break your entire year. And I think that's something that elite athletes are looking for. They're looking for consistency, and that's what coaches and and teams are looking for as well. So I think I completely agree with you there. I think it's fascinating. Of course, to have a ranking system and know where you sit all the time, clearly that's a benefit as well. So I mean, I'm right there with you. All right, so we're in the Summer of Poomsae. Jim Harp has been big competitions all over the country. Now, all of a sudden, you have to adapt to this virtual competition. Tell us some of the main differences that you have felt competing in this, ultimately, this USA Taekwondo 8.0 event.
Sure. I'm really happy that the opportunity is still there. I had done 2 live tournaments earlier this year, and then all of a sudden, of course, COVID hit, and I thought, well, I guess that I'm done for the year. Well, as it turns out, I'm not. There's all kinds of online opportunities.
Good.
Probably the aspect of that I'm not as crazy about is that I don't get to see my friends in person.
Right.
An advantage is that there's a lot less pressure in that you're just making your videos, on your own. And if you make a mistake, you can just do it over, which is, kind of nice. Overall, though, it's an opportunity that I didn't necessarily expect that I would have. So, in sum, I think it's great.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, the overwhelming statement from every athlete is they miss the camaraderie of the athletes and coaches, and it sounds like you do too. And Sherman and I as well, and the rest of the staff, we miss seeing all of our membership and our athletes as well. So I think that's clearly a big missing point here of COVID-19 is the fact that you can't spend time at these big competitions with ultimately your Taekwondo family. So I agree totally. Well, Jim, we want to say good luck to you in the men's black belt over 65 division coming up here in these later episodes. And thank you so much for spending a few minutes here with us at the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae.
Yes, sir, Jason. Thank you for having me.
And isn't this great? So we have the over 65 male black belt division starting. This is Jim Harp, who has been, Master Harp has been on the National Poomsae team for, I believe, Pan Am championships in the past. It's great to see him out there. One does sense that there are some physical limitations, but that he's so determined and his knowledge is excellent. He's actually a Poomsae referee as well. So it's great to see him putting his body out there. It is definitely, and actually I think he looks even more stable than what I've seen him in the past. He's doing a great job.
And this is one of the more difficult forms, especially for this age division. So I think overall, he's going to be very strong. He is one of the stronger competitors in this division. He also recently helped host the online Midwest Poomsae tournament. So I think it's great that he's really pushing the Poomsae in his region, making sure that people have venues to continue competing while we're in quarantine and competing himself. I've traveled with Jim, really enjoy hanging out with him. I think he has a lot of knowledge to give, both from an athlete and a referee perspective. And that was a very solid form, I think for Master Harp here.
Looks like he might have added a little extra movement there on the Jumbi. So yeah, I think you do see a little diversity of opinion on the accuracy there, but really I think when you get into some of these divisions, it really is a matter of opinion what you're counting as a minor. But again, a pleasure to watch. And isn't it great that we have even more competitors in the over 65 division than we do in the under 65? So again, showing, and that what hasn't been true historically, I think to see it consistently that, we have 5, 6, 7, 8 people in this division at times. It's just so fantastic to see that as people get older, they're continuing to push their bodies and continuing to show great Taekwondo movement. I think it's at these older divisions that you really understand the essence of the Poomsae, I think in a lot of ways, because I don't know how to explain it, but I think every movement matters and every movement has a cost. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's so much intention in everything that people do. And I think, in the beginning of the Poomsae movement especially, I always enjoyed watching the older divisions go, especially at the world champion level, because I always learned so much from their movement. That's a nice finish.
Absolutely, and showing good flexibility on the front kicks as well. Second form here, 5.97. And this is the semi-final round for the men's over 65. Like we mentioned, there are 5 athletes. So again, everybody will move on to the finals, but this will give them their seeding for that final round. Second competitor here is Mitchell Dillard. He's from Chuang's Taekwondo, and his coach is James Park.
We saw in the last division, or a couple divisions ago.
I will say it's great to have such a depth here in these divisions. Like we said, 5 athletes for this round. But I know when I've traveled to the Pan American Championships or the World Championships, the Americans do so well at these older divisions. And I think it is that showing that you can continue being really intentional with the movements, taking your own time, doing it at your pace. And it's some of my favorite divisions to watch. And I know I traveled with my mom to a couple tournaments, and she would always go off and do other things, but she always watched the older divisions. I think it's just so impressive to really watch them. And I'm really enjoying watching these upper age groups and just seeing them still improve. Every year I'm seeing these athletes improve.
And Master Dillard recently earned his Kukiwon 5th Dan Taekwondo promotion in 2019, and also earned a gold medal at this year's US Open in Orlando, which we got in just before a quarantine hit. So I know that we were all grateful to be able to have that opportunity to compete. And yeah, 6.57. So definitely puts him in a solid first place position at this time. We'll see how his second score comes up.
上。
Master Dillard spends his free time leading the Job Seekers Ministry at Heights Baptist Church, and he volunteers to help people find newer, better jobs and careers. So I think something that probably is greatly appreciated during this time. Oh, that's a very nice motion on his side kick. I like that a lot.
Yeah, good control, flexibility again on those front kicks, especially on that hard kicking combo of the front kick and then turning around side kick.
His
seeing quite the groundedness of some of the younger divisions, but I do think that there's still control in the stances.
Yeah, some of his Chichumseki getting a little bit narrow there. 6.64, so he's in first place. Again, no one is being eliminated this round. Everyone's coming back for the finals. These scores will be used to seed the finals.
And that is a very good high score there, especially for that round with so many kicks. Next competitor here is Ken Thorpe from Parks Martial Arts, also coached by James Park. Another dojang I've recognized from previous episodes. I feel like it's great. I don't know how other teams are doing it, but if you're allowed to have a couple athletes in there recording at the same time, it's nice to both feel the pressure and the support from teammates. And you can maybe clap silently, cheer on your teammates. I know it is hard. Some athletes we've seen competing in different spaces, so being outside on football fields or like we saw earlier, parking garages. So it's nice to have access to the dojang, but also hard with nobody there maybe to give the pressure and cheer you on. So very definite, different environment from competing at nationals.
Absolutely. I think his depth comfort level is there, but then I think the activation also needs to be there. So it's a little more internally motivated for you to get into your game mode. But I like his movement. I think, I don't know how this will be scored, but I appreciated his presentation a little more even than the last competitor, although they were both excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yep, nice high score here. So accuracy a little bit lower. We did see some head facing the wrong directions in a couple moves, but the presentation really high. I thought he had great control on the spins and on the crane stances. So yeah, new high score here for this division so far.
The referee position gave him a 4.5 on presentation.
Wow.
3 1.5s, I would assume, which is quite high. But it was very noticeable, I think, the change. So they're certainly responding to what they're seeing.
Showing really high front kicks here and good control on those side kicks. Quick tempo out of the crane stance, maybe get the side kick over with. Little step down there, so maybe one major.
Nicely done.
Really nice body position too. Chest was almost directly upright on that last stance after the side kick. Really hard to do, so very impressive run. I expect another score here, pretty high.
Wow. Yep, I think your intuition was
Some
correct.
range there in presentation again, 3.7 to 4.8. So
4.8 again. That's interesting.
difference of opinion, but really high overall score there for Ken Thorpe.
And again, that's where the 3-judge format really means that every judge's opinion really counts for a lot. So there's really no margin for error here. So we have Master Jang Hee Pak. Recently new to the Poomsae scene, was actually a very accomplished sparring coach back in the day, but is just recently found Poomsae, and boy, he sure looks pretty good for someone who recently got into this discipline. Looks like he's joined Master Yang's, Poksun Yang's Ichthus team, affiliation of schools and coaches across the country.
And he's located in Austin, Texas, so a lot of really high-level athletes coming out of Texas. And he placed second place at the Grand Slam final in Colorado Springs. So right up there with the best of the best, even though he's just recently in this Poomsae world. So really great basics he must have had in his training throughout the years to be able to pick it up this quickly. And great core and stability.
Wow, I am just really enjoying his movement. Like, it's so correct, and he's stopping so cleanly. I think this might be one of the favorite performances that I've seen today. That's really nice. And it's hard to do that in Kumgang.
Yeah, that was such a solid, consistent performance too. All of the moves were just so smooth and clean, good stops, good power. Yeah, really high score here, 7.23. He's been playing golf for 30 years, and so maybe that smooth swing is helping with his Poomsae.
Oh, I can just imagine the many parallels between Poomsae and golf. That's for sure.
He also does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he has a brown belt there with 4 stripes that he's been doing for 12 years. So maybe that's, you got the power from Jiu-Jitsu and the softness from golf all coming through for his Poomsae.
Sounds like a recipe for great Poomsae.
We are seeing some lower kicks in this form. Kumgang was so grounded, we didn't have that motion. I think overall his movement is still really, really nice. Kicking caliber, maybe not quite as high, but very in control. So I think the score will still be high this round. Definitely a 7.27 here for his second form.
It looks like they didn't penalize him too much for those low kicks. So again, maybe
over 65 division.
Yeah, right. Sometimes they will score that way, and sometimes they won't. But a solid first place going into the finals in a good position. We have one more. This is Bruce Gallup from Bruce's World Champion Taekwondo, coached by Master David Turgeon. And Bruce was on the 2016 national team and earned a bronze medal in Peru at the World Poomsae Championships. Nicest gentleman. Really enjoyed traveling with him.
Taking a little bit slower tempo, but I feel like it's pretty in control.
Yeah.
Intention and still landing pretty cleanly.
Making good use of his of the tools he has. A little shaky there, but he hangs on to it. Nice. Kumgang's definitely one of those forms you can kind of chase the white rabbit and try to record it too many times. So sometimes you just have to be okay with those wobbles and recognize that no performance is perfect.
One other thing I'm seeing with his a little bit slower tempo, I can see the weight shift. So he really understands how to shift the weight to do some of these turns, center your weight on that leg, and then pick it up into the stances. It's the approach to the moves are so correct. It's nice to see.
I agree. Some wobbles there, so we'll see how this scores.
Yep, so it looks like they did take some accuracy deductions, a bit of a range again, 2.0 to 2.8 there in the accuracy. But I do think the presentation was really nice. We'll see how it comes through with Pyong. These are, two hard forms for the semifinal round. Not easy to pull out good runs of Kumgang and then Pyongwon back to back. Remember, there's no break here in the recording.
Yeah, these are two of the scariest forms that I know for a lot of athletes. So it seems almost a little bit unfair to give this to the over 65 division, a little punitive, but it is the semifinal round and they'll have a chance to show their more stuff in the finals. Like how,
Right.
Again, he said, good intentionality on that turning psychic, which we all know that we don't want to tip on those.
Good weight shift again there. Maybe missed the arm.
Yeah, missed the arm, swinging out. Maybe lines of eyesight were not there in the turning psychic, but a lot to enjoy about this performance.
I enjoyed it definitely. This whole division, these 5 athletes, I have immensely enjoyed seeing their approach to the forms, and I feel like we can all learn a little bit on how we do our forms from them. So a 5.63 on Pyongwon, total of 5.88 for Bruce Gallop. And that sneaks him just into 4th place there. Again, there is no deductions here. Nobody's leaving this division. Everybody will go again in the finals. And into our last division for this episode is the women's over 65 black belts. And our first competitor here is Diana Hunt from Sacramento Taekwondo, coached by Master Barbara Brand, who we saw in this same space just a few minutes ago.
Diana was on the 2016 National Poomsae team in Lima, Peru, where she earned a silver medal at the World Championships, going out to Australia in the finals. But she looked fantastic all day long. It was, kind of came out of nowhere, at least in my perception, and then did fantastic, and then didn't compete for a couple of years, but it's great to see her back.
It's great. I do feel like sometimes in the older divisions, people will take a few years off and focus on some other things. I know a lot of these athletes also do other sports or yoga, tennis. So it's great that they come back even if they do leave for a little bit. We did see here some head facing the wrong direction on a few moves, so we might take some accuracy majors. But again, good intention. I liked the rhythm, good approach. So we'll see how the score comes through. 6.16, yep. So we're seeing some accuracy hits there, but fairly good presentation, total 6.16. There are 4 athletes in this division, and this is the semifinal round, so all will stay and all will move on to the finals. We will just get their seeding for the final round. Second form here will be choreo.
Maybe that side kick's not quite extending at the higher heights, knees a little bent.
But the back stances and front stances have really nice locks.
Yeah, and she's keeping her frame on the bottom leg during the side kick. She's not losing that at all, and nice patience. So again, very in control, very aware of her body. This is nice work.
Slight step out there from the frame.
Yeah, we'll
see
see
if it penalizes her at all. So hand came off on the back side there on the side kick, but body staying pretty upright. I always take a big breath there as I go into this last bar for choreo. Again, a bar where the judges can only see your back. So you really have to make sure that you're engaging that back leg, pulling back your elbow thrust so that there's something visual for us to see on the camera from our point of view.
Definitely.
Nice choreo overall, a couple hits on accuracy again, but a total of 6.13 for this second form. So a total score there of 6.15 for Diana Hunt. And 3 more competitors in this division. Our second competitor here is Erica Linthorst. She is from CT Cheongdo Kwan, and her coach is Master David Turgeon. We've seen Erica over the years many times, and I was just speaking about athletes who do multiple sports. She also competes in tennis, pairs tennis, I believe, and goes to nationals for tennis as well as Taekwondo, very active. And I love traveling with her. She is so supportive, really is just a great cheerleader when you're competing, and just a great athlete herself. So I know that she's been in various divisions, age divisions over the year, very strong competitor over the years, and I'm really glad to see her here.
Oh, I really like her groundedness and her length of her stances. It's really nice. I really appreciate her movement. It is a whole body movement, which you don't always see in these divisions. She's of course 2016 world champion from Lima,
Really
Peru.
nice form. Yeah. Good volume of motion on top, nice deep stances. We even saw locks out on those front stances. Judges definitely appreciating it, 7.06.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised, yeah, that it didn't score a little higher, but maybe they did take those side kicks into account, or I'm not sure what maybe a little shakiness at the end of the techniques. But yeah, it's nice. Maybe like a little softer on the finish than Danahan was.
Good flexibility on the front kicks. Nice transition there.
Yeah, that was a nice transition. That was quick. And really, you have to be really strong in your base leg to be able to do that.
Pushing the tempo, having good connection here in some of these moves in this bar. And we'll see, maybe we'll watch for that back leg locking and smooth attack on the upper hands.
I like that a lot. I really enjoyed her style. But yes, it does seem like maybe a little bit of extra movement on each finish. So it really depends on how the judges interpret that.
Right, so that's mostly coming down to style again. All the moves that she's doing are correct. So 2.9 there for accuracy, 4.1 presentation, total of 7.00, and her final score will be 7.03.
So maybe judges looking for a little more presentation, maybe a little more power in some of the techniques are visible. That's really nice. I think I misunderstood the scores, but she is solidly in first place. Got it.
Yes. And there are 4 in this division. Our third competitor here is Tweety Nguyen from Parks Martial Arts, coached by James Park. Familiar coach name.
That's right. Master Nguyen is long time referee, and just recently got into competition and made the 2020 national team for World Championships.
Right, it's a hotly contested division at the Grand Slam between Master Yerick and Master Tweety. Both really great. I got to travel with Master Nguyen here at the last President's Cup. Getting to know her was really fun, and I think that she's going to be a strong competitor in the coming years. A little bit quicker tempo than Erica took, slightly maybe higher kicks, but not the clean lock maybe on the stances.
Yeah, I think she has very confident movement from stance to stance. Oh, very close.
Yeah, this will be close again. It looks like 7.0 on the first form.
It looks like, again, they're competing for that seeding in the finals.
Lots of side kicks again in the second form. Good control coming out. Nice shoulders pushing through on these motions here. You're seeing the core and shoulder engagement to come through.
Nice. Her frame is really good. I think she's standing very upright. So I think perhaps her upper body fluidity is not as strong as Master Linthorst, but I think her finish and her frame is holding up a little better, and her transitions maybe a little faster. So really it's just a matter of preference, as you said.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of up and down motion there in that last bar, but overall I think very solid performance. This is going to be a really tight score between the two of them for that first and second spot. They really like the presentation here. So 7.3 total on her second score will give her, I believe, a higher overall score and sneak her into first place. Yep, so 7.15 for Master Nguyen and 7.03 for Master Linthorst, and Diana Hunt coming in with a 6.15. One more competitor here to go. This is Drinda Bell from High Desert Martial Arts. Brenda, I'm sorry there, I had a typo. And her coach is Daniel Graff.
It's our first competitor wearing a mask today that we've seen. Appreciate the consideration for others and for herself in protecting, and it must be a little harder to breathe and to perform at that level. Some nice stuff in here, good height, but not quite finishing her techniques, and also some lines of sight issues. So you will see a pretty low accuracy here.
Some elbows coming out on some of those kicks as well, but like you said, really good flexibility on the front kick, good tempo and rhythm throughout. That was Drinda Bell with her first form. And she got a 5.37. So like we mentioned, some accuracy hits for looking the wrong way on some of those motions, multiple throughout. And here we go with the second form.
Drinda also does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Drinda does. And she creates and sells dragon marionettes. So I have to say, these are some of the most interesting hobbies I've ever seen.
That's really cool, and I don't even know what it is, but I want one.
I agree. I have to find out what those are. Oh, she stepped with the wrong foot there, unfortunately, on that transition.
Yeah, we're going to take some accuracy hits in this round for the face and some steps going the wrong way. A couple balance issues, but when she does hit those front stances, they are really nice lock and length.
I
agree. I think that she has some really good potential, really great front kick flexibility height. So once we clean up some of those accuracy, again, the presentation is going to jump up, and she could do very well in this division. Yeah, high presentation there, accuracy 2.5, so total of 6.17. Definitely in contention here with that second form coming through. So a total of 5.77 that will put her in fourth place. But like we mentioned, a couple accuracy checks and she'll be right up there in the thick of it. And that was our 4 competitors in that over 65 female black belt division.
Oh, Miyako, what did you think about that competition? That was fantastic.
That was such a great episode, Coach. I think it might be one of my favorites. I really enjoy watching the older age divisions compete. Like we mentioned throughout watching them, they just show such a good understanding of the Poomsae. They really are showing the correct motion throughout, taking their time. And I feel it really lets us see a different style to each person that maybe we don't see as much of in some of the younger divisions.
Agreed. I always learn so much watching the master divisions compete, both at our national events as well as internationally. So I really enjoyed that. I know that, every person in that competition represents a journey in Taekwondo and a journey in life. And so, I have so much respect for all of these athletes out there today.
Absolutely. And it was such a high level of competition as well. We have multiple national team members in multiple divisions. So it is a high level of competition, high caliber here, all the way up. We're building such a great pipeline of athletes in the US, and we have multiple online competitions coming up throughout the rest of the year. So this is just great exposure and experience, and I'm thoroughly enjoying all of it.
Absolutely. And I think, USA Taekwondo putting on the Summer of Poomsae event for the country and producing it in this way so that everyone can enjoy a professionally produced production is just great for Poomsae athletes. And like I said earlier, this is really Poomsae's time to shine. It's our chance for our sport to really come to the forefront at a time when other aspects of our sport, unfortunately, can't be contested. So I hope that the country enjoys it. I hope that everyone has a renewed and increased appreciation for Poomsae. I know I'm really enjoying this process, and I hope to see many more ranked events coming up, and sending my athletes to them and seeing other people compete as well.
Absolutely. Keep tuning in. We have many more episodes coming up throughout the whole summer, including many other age divisions. We have some freestyle coming up. So keep tuning in, keep commenting on the YouTube, and we can't wait to see you the whole summer long.
Wow, just wow. Great competition to this point. I'm so impressed with our athletes' ability, again, to just find ways to move their Poomsae through different locations. I'm seeing too. It's fun. Yeah. Fun to see some people in their house, fun to see some people in their dojang. So it's very exciting. I'm just impressed, Sherman. Just impressed.
Yeah, Jay, I want to kind of pivot a little bit to we're dealing with people 50, 60, close to 70 years old,
right?
And they're still competing at a high level. And this doesn't look like senior citizen Poomsae. This looks like competitive sport Poomsae. And so, I think shout out to all of our competitors who at this age and this stage in life are still willing to get on the mat, man. And I think as competitors, we spend a lot of time on the mat, and then as coaches, man, there is something in you that compels you to get on that mat and put it all on the line. And so I just want to commend everybody for the longevity, for the tenacity, the embodiment of the tenets of Taekwondo, man. That was this has been a very cool group of athletes to watch for that reason, largely because that's my age demographic. So listen, all of our semifinalists, so that was our under 60 male black belts, our under 65 male and female black belts, our under 60 female color belt, our over 65 male and female black belts, all advanced to the finals. So congratulations to all those competitors. You are moving on to the finals, one step closer to that #1 spot.
No, you're right. In the under 60 female black belt division, though, we do have some semifinalists that have gone through, and we have some that have been eliminated. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you those names of the under 60 female black belt competitors who have moved on or moving on up, if like we like to say, to the finals. It is Angela Pullen, Diana, and I'm going to say Adamowitz. I think I got that right.
That's what I said. So if we're wrong, we're both wrong. Yeah.
Good. Mara Hall, Amber Smith, Belinda Coe, Cindy Jan Trigg, and Elva Adams. Congratulations to all of our competitors. But you 8 will move on to the finals for that coveted #1 spot at the Summer of Poomsae Championship. Sherm, again, been so fun to this point. We've had a blast and love spending time with you here and watching the Summer of Poomsae, watching our athletes give it their best. It's been a great time talking Taekwondo, and that's something that's been hard to find ways to do at this point. But I tell you, we've got major episodes coming up. You know what's coming up? It's a bunch of finals from here on in. So if you haven't been logging on,
go nowhere.
You got to be on here with Sherman and I, because tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Tell your mother, tell your father, send a telegram. It's a funky introduction of how nice I am, but I won't get into that.
And I enjoyed your rhyming. It's very, very, very nice. I'm assuming that's a song I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you don't know this song, but it's a Tribe Called Quest, so you might have. Well, here's a funky introduction of how nice I am. Go tell your mother, tell your father, send a telegram. I'm not gonna energize the sudden season last long. My crew is never ever whacked, and we stand strong. Maybe
That's
not.
where
Maybe you haven't heard that. Yeah.
I'm going to say never.
All right. And so on that note, I'm gonna let you go. Back to your
I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna sit back and relax here at the beach. I see you're
Sip
working
some Mai
hard at the
Tais.
Summer of Poomsae's headquarters there. So for all of you USA Taekwondo members, non-members, but just Taekwondo enthusiasts, stay with us here. You've been watching the Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo. You've been chopping up with Jason Sherman. Coming up next, more of the same, but the finals.
We'll see you in the finals.